Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the Cruise Amigos live from Virginia. I have a little slight technical problem today, but first I'll tell you who's here. We've got Pete from London. That's
Hey, how you
Pete over
doing?
there. Let's see if I can do this now. I've got to get my
Yeah.
mind on. See, that's Pete. He's over there
Oh
in
my,
London.
you're
He's the
focusing on
one that
me.
has a little bit of, he's follically challenged, I call it, just a little thin on top. And then we have up in Crookston, Minnesota, John Reitmeyer, and we make up the Cruise Amigos. And we are
We do.
live from Virginia, which is our kind of our new marriage this week, which we've done some shows earlier in the week. Doesn't change Sunday, folks. We'll still be live from London on Sundays, like always, 3 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time and 8 o'clock in London time. What do you call London time, Pete? Greenwich time.
Greenwich
No, it's called British summertime.
British summertime. Okay,
Summertime.
I probably won't remember that in 5 minutes. So lack of importance.
Hello,
Our
Emily.
guest today is supposed to be Taylor Dolven, who's a reporter for the Miami Herald that covers tourism in Florida and travel industry, cruise industry. Now, we were going to talk about the Bahamas Paradise lawsuit, which got settled. To see, she's been covering that story. So she also, we were scheduled for 3 o'clock today, and she pushed that back till 4. And said she would be able to be here by 4, and obviously she's not here yet. So we'll see if she comes on, fine. If not, we have another interesting thing to talk about, and I'm going to turn it over to John Reitmeyer up there in Minnesota. Take it, John.
Well, we are excited. You know, Pete and I met, I guess it'll be 2 years ago in the fall, and we were sitting on the back deck of the Epic, and we were saying, what can we do? What can we do to have fun? What can we do to spur on the cruise industry? How can we do this? And from that, we did some initial shows on YouTube and on Facebook. And from that, the Cruise Amigos were born. And I think we're in about week 14 or so of the Cruise Amigos, and it has gone very well. But the one thing that we found out, especially when Dan from Outside Agents, which is a back office for a whole lot of travel agents, about 4,000 to 5,000 of them in the United States, is that we have a lot of travel agents that are listening to us. And we are putting together a private channel, and this is not to exclude all of our non-travel agency friends. What this is we are going to start seeking out special deals, extra bonuses, little perks, anything that we can add on because of our now notoriety and fame. And I say that, a little bit, but it seems really funny because we seem to be getting a little notoriety and fame. And sometimes when we talk to our guests that we have on, they have told us, hey, you guys, if there's anything we can do for you or whatever. And it isn't about them doing for us. We want to pass that on to our listeners. And so we have developed a method that we think is going to work for that. And to do that, we are going to calve off our travel agent listeners into a private room. And it's the old thing about their strength in numbers. When we have 10, 20, 50, 100 travel agents that we can then say to this vendor, whether it's a cruise line or a travel grouping, a bus tour or whatever, hey, we'd like to bring some special little deal to our travel agent partners that they can then bring on to all of the customers that comes from us. It's a little spiff, it's a little perk. It may be a bottle of wine in your cabin. It may be onboard credit. It may be, we don't know. Everybody is going to be different, but that's what we're going to work for. But so if you are a travel agent, just start texting me directly, not in the public chat here, but getting a hold of me. We're going to get you into our private chat room, and we're going to tell you how this all works. There's no cost, but we do ask bona fide travel agents. Don't think that as a consumer you're going to sneak in here. We're going to figure you out pretty fast because remember, I was and am associated with travel agents all the time. But it is for your own good. We are not trying to hold you out. We are not trying to, have some upper class or anything. This is just, there's, travel agent words and codes and things. But what we are trying to do is find spiffs and perks and benefits that we can do with the old idea of their strength in numbers. And who knows, maybe within a year, we're going to be saying, hey, we're going to have this sailing for you, and it's a special deal. We're going to have this trip for you, and it's a special deal. We're going to have this river cruise for you, and it's a special deal because you're going to come in a day earlier, and we're going to spend the day together, all of us, and that's on us. Or however this all works. We're going to put it together, and it's because the travel agents that listen to our show are so awesome. And so each one of you that's a travel agent, you know how to find me here on Facebook. Just private message me. I'll get you into the new group, and we're going to start building. And as soon as we have a few people there, we're going to start letting the cat out of the bag, so to speak. So that's what's going on. Did I explain it right, guys? Have I?
Yeah, I would just point out one thing, because it's something that has come back to me through other channels, is that we do not compete against any travel agent. We are not booking cruises. We are not selling cruises. Yes, I have a website, F&C Travel, that I run some affiliate marketing things on it. But if you call me and say, hey, I want to book a cruise to the Bahamas, I'm not going to book it because I'm not an agent. I can refer you to people that I work with. Like, I've got a guy Norwegian that's fabulous. We've got Kim, that's one of our regular listeners, that's fabulous. I can refer you to somebody, but we are not agents. We do not compete against you guys.
We do not take commission like travel agents take commission.
No.
Right.
I think we kind of we got focused, didn't we, really, guys?
We really did, and this is the most fun of everything, yeah.
Yeah, and when we did the Catalina line, with Daniel last week, it kind of really struck us that it'd be great that our members who are watching can get a special deal if they go and book with them, but we can't do anything because we're not travel agents. So if there were travel agents watching it and they could do a deal with Catalina Cruise Line, then our members who are watching the show, they can get a possible great deal. Again, with Virgin Voyages,
Same thing. And we will ultimately, we will pass this on. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Pete. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Pam Hoffey from Globus Group, all the wonderful people we spoke to, they could allow people to get a great individual deal. And we can't do it because we're not travel agents. I think it's such a great idea, John. I really do. It means that everybody benefits, the members benefit, everyone benefits from that.
And it's gonna, it's gonna be this sharing thing where once we've made the deal, we'll give you a list of where you can book that deal with, and we hope that more TAs, travel agents, will join in.
Yeah.
But we'll all benefit together because one travel agent might be able to book one or two things. Well, that doesn't make a group, but 100 travel agents, maybe within that there might be 50 people that will make up the group.
Yeah,
that then all those 50 people are going to benefit greatly from. It's an exciting thing. It's kind of never been done that I can find anywhere else, because you don't have to be a travel agent working for a particular company to be in this group. You are the independent travel agent that's going to be in our bigger group. And it's going to be fun. There's a few rules, and they're just really logical, straight ahead rules. Like, I think we can sum it up in 2 words, right? Pete and Chillie, the 2 rules are be nice. And after that, it's just an explanation of those 2 rules. But
I mean, for me, there's only one thing that's important for me, is that the members, the viewers who watch the show can benefit. That they, not us, they can benefit. And that's the most important thing for me.
And we're going to get some secondary benefit out of it, in the fact that we may get a little perks from it too, but it doesn't change or cut into anything that you guys get. And that's the focus of this, is we want to show that when we come with 100 people that want to do this, or 50 people that want to do this, and the neat thing, like on Catarina lines, it can be 14 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the 50 that one of the cruise lines wants.
And John, we can start with Catalina line because we're talking about maybe next year. We really fell in love with the cruise line. Daniel was fantastic. You know, we fell in love with Croatia, especially after yesterday with Alison and those fabulous photos. And it'd be really great if next year we could go and we could do maybe a small little group on one of their lovely ships in the spring. I think we're now talking, aren't we, guys? We're talking about maybe in the springtime in April will be a good time off season for the cruise line, so it doesn't cost them and stuff, and we can get a great deal for our members. So I think this is a fantastic idea. And of course,
I would also just like to stick in, since I can actually watch comments today because I'm not playing with pictures. I can say hello to Emily and Gretchen and Nikki and Kim just hopped in.
Wow.
Glad to see you guys. Sorry, and since Kim just got here, she doesn't know that our guest hasn't made it yet and doesn't look like she's going to. But anyway, that happens. First time it's happened to us, so that's really not too awful bad. So
I think Virgin Voyages would be a great one to try as well, wouldn't it? I think
there is nobody out there that's not a target, because you know, when you have 100 travel agents and they each have a couple of hundred clients, you know, out of 2,000 possible people, you know, for you guys that are across the pond, Chillie and I could take you on some incredible American trips, whether it's crossing the country on Amtrak. You know, we have a train system here too. It's different than you guys, but you know, you can see incredible things going across the country on Amtrak. Come to the Grand Canyon, come to Yosemite, come to no, I can't. Where's Old Faithful? Yellowstone. Yellowstone is an unbelievable trip.
Our guest is here.
Fantastic.
Let's see now if she gets the camera turned on.
On here, and then see who's coming. Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. I'm going to add you in, and okay. You blanked out. Is your camera on, Taylor? And there's Taylor.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, we just went on and started the show, and we've been chatting about the Cruise Amigos, which is our group. And so you can meet everybody, Taylor. And we are live, by the way. I'll tell you that up front.
Okay.
We've been on the air actually for about 12 minutes now. But
I just
over
have
here,
a short window. I can join you guys, but thank you for having me.
Okay, well, we'll do it real quick then. That's Pete from London, and John from up in Minnesota, and I'm Chillie from Virginia. And to our folks in the audience, this is Taylor Dolven. She's a reporter for the Miami Herald, covers tourism, travel, cruises industry for the Miami Herald. My question for you, you covered the Bahamas Paradise lawsuit, and my understanding is it's been settled. Can you tell us about the lawsuit and the settlement?
Yeah, so Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line, as I'm sure you guys are familiar, is based here at the Port of Palm Beach, and they do 2-night cruises, 2-day cruises to Grand Bahama. And so they presented crew members with a form to sign right after cruises were canceled here in the U.S. in mid-March. That basically said you agreed to stay on and work on the ship without pay. And so very few people didn't sign this because they thought it would be just a month pause like we all did at that point. And so they figured, I'll stay on and get my job back as soon as cruising is allowed again. But that never happened, as we know, and the crew remained on the ship and continued to work without pay. And so after, 5 months of this, one of the crew members who made it off the ship decided to file a lawsuit here in federal court in Miami. And it was a class action lawsuit, and the company settled within a matter of, I think it was just a week or a few weeks. And so the settlement basically pays people for the work that they did on the ships over the last 5.5 months. They've been stuck there. They haven't been able to go home. They've been cooking, cleaning, not knowing, when they'll be let off. And so this will, the lawyer for the crew member says, give them those wages back, and then also the 2 months severance that's in their contract that they also didn't get.
And have they gotten any of that money yet?
No, these class action lawsuits take a long time to work themselves out. It's important to note, actually, the judge in the case hasn't even signed off on the settlement yet. So it'll be a slow payout process.
Okay.
Would you say it's fair?
That's your guys' call to make. It's $875,000 for 275 crew members. So they can tell you more than I can about whether they think it's fair.
All right, moving to another story. Obviously, you're in Florida. Obviously, we're still in the middle of a pandemic in this country. Obviously, the CDC is not allowing anybody to cruise yet. What do you hear about the possibility of us getting started this year, or is it going to be next year?
Yeah, Carnival Corp CEO Arnold Donald said just last week that he was still hopeful about cruising in the U.S. in 2020. So I think it hasn't been written off totally yet. As you know, the CDC has banned cruises until October 1st, and cruise companies have canceled through the end of October. So it would just be those few remaining months at the end there. What's interesting is cruise companies have moved most of their ships out of U.S. waters. You'll remember back in April and even into May, there were just dozens of ships here off the coast of Florida specifically, anchored and really just waiting to start again. And now you look out into the ocean and there's nothing there, no cruise ships to see. And so the companies that move their ships out of U.S. waters then don't have to report any COVID cases on board to the CDC anymore. And so the CDC is working with more limited data. They're still in touch with health authorities in other countries, but the companies that have moved their ships out aren't reporting to the CDC directly. I don't know if that will slow down, the start of cruising again, but that was sort of the latest development with the CDC.
Okay. Pete?
Yeah. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Pete.
I'm in London, the UK. And you work for the Miami Herald. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
And I've just got a question, actually, because I didn't know who we were talking to today, to be honest with you, Taylor. But it's a question I have to ask. There's I come from the television industry as well, so I understand that when you watch programs on television, they sometimes get edited in certain ways. Were you involved in the £1 billion cruise industry on ITV documentary? Were you the reporter from the Miami Herald on that?
I was interviewed for the documentary, yes. Did
you ever get to see the end product, the end result?
I didn't. I don't live in the UK, and so
yeah.
I saw bits and parts of my interview were featured and posted on social media.
Yeah, I've got to say, because it was a program on ITV that everybody this side of the pond was really looking forward to watching, because obviously we wanted to know what's going to happen in the cruise industry, where it's going to go. And afterwards, everybody was really, really upset and hurt by what we felt was the reporting of the cruise industry in that program being particularly one-sided against the industry, we felt. And it showed you a lot talking about the cruise industry, but it showed all the negative stuff coming from yourself rather than the positive stuff. And afterwards, everybody was like, oh my God, that's not true. The cruise industry has not necessarily behaved in the right way. I just wanted to hear from your point of view, because to be completely honest, Taylor, it didn't paint you in the best light either, the way they edited the show. Mm-hmm. And I understand that you may say lots of things which are true and may come over as negative about the cruise industry. And also you may say a lot of things that are positive and also true and hopeful about the cruise industry. But the editors edited it in such a way, it felt like a hatchet job on the cruise industry, and it felt really unfair. So I just wanted to get your point of view.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I can't. I've been interviewed for a lot of documentaries, as you can imagine, and a lot of them were done in a really short time frame. Obviously before we really know the outcome here of the recovery of this industry. So it's hard to say. The story is definitely not over. I think there are some really difficult questions that need to be asked about how the industry responded to outbreaks on dozens of ships of COVID-19 during this crisis. Obviously this is a really important industry, especially to South Florida, the cruise capital of the world. We have thousands of people who work for the cruise companies, both on land, on ships, vendors, longshoremen. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So it's certainly a divisive issue.
It is. And how do you think they have responded, to be fair? I mean, how do you think the cruise industry overall, from February when it all started to happen until now, with all the new things they're doing with MSC cruising again, how do you think it has responded overall?
Yeah, I think there are definitely some, like I said, difficult questions that need to be asked about their response early on. Infectious diseases are not new to cruises, and so it certainly is concerning that after the initial outbreaks, after ships were getting turned away from multiple ports in the Caribbean, with countries saying, you can't come here, that the industry continued to sail on, and especially didn't offer refunds to concerned cruisers, especially elderly cruisers who said, I really don't want to go on a ship that's going to get turned away from destinations, and I've saved a lot for this. So I think I think it's a mixed bag. I think they'd be the first to tell you, they have said, they're dealing with a different set of circumstances and information now, and if they had had it then, they may have acted differently. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out when things get going again.
Have you followed the MSC's successful sailing last week on the Grandiosa?
Yeah, I read a few stories about it, more about the couple or the family who
got kicked off.
Yeah. But maybe that's a good sign, that
Nobody ever thought that maybe it was a setup. Maybe they hired a family to go on, break the rules so they could, because we've never heard the name of the family. They've never been interviewed. Maybe they use it as a this is what happens so that they could just I come up with wacky out of the box ideas.
I think MSC,
yeah.
I think MSC came over very well by refusing them to come back on. I guess, to be completely honest with you, we won't really know how it's going until they've had 2 or 3 sailings, will we? We've got to give it 2 or 3 sailings before we feel confident that they are getting it right, which I fingers crossed they are getting it right.
Yeah.
Well, you're still looking at 14 days. They say when you got a spike from something, it's 14 days till you start seeing it. So, we got another week until, if there were any problems that are going to show up. But for now, it's looking a lot better than some of the smaller ships. We talked to some folks last week in Croatia that are small ship sailings that have been sailing since June with no problems whatsoever. So there are some really good signs out there that the new protocols they put in place are working.
Taylor, have you actually cruised? Have you cruised yourself?
Yes, I have.
When's the last time you cruised?
On the Encore here when it debuted in, gosh, was that
Southampton?
No, in Miami.
When
it arrived on the first sailing here out of Miami.
Oh wow, yeah, because I was on the Encore transatlantic from Southampton to New York.
To New York, yeah.
Because we were originally meant to be going to Miami.
Okay.
Yes, all right.
But they threw them all off in New York. Said enough. Get out.
I mean, would you feel, Taylor, if just say for instance MSC invited you on their ship, would you feel safe and happy to go on a cruise at the moment?
I don't know. I think I'd have to see, for myself. I think as a journalist, I'm, very eager to cover the restart, and we'll definitely be there when when it's up and running here. I can't, very few of us can get ourselves to Italy right now, but certainly at Port Miami, I'll be there.
I'm hoping that this all gets over with, because I'm going to be in Europe in next October, not a year from October. I'm going to go get in trouble with these two.
Now, Taylor, did you get any feedback from the ITV show, by the way, from anybody in the States? I mean, did you get any feedback?
I didn't, no.
Yeah, I really hope that you get a chance to see the show, because, you know, I just felt, you know, after the show, I try to be as positive as I possibly can. You know, I've got a small group, Cruises for Solos, you know, with all the solo travelers. And a few days beforehand, I excitedly put a link to the show on the group saying, and everyone's saying, we're really excited to see the show and fantastic. And then we watched the show, and as we're watching it, my jaw was just dropping further and further. And afterwards, I was devastated by the way the show was, how the show portrayed cruising. I was gutted, and I was angry, to be completely honest with you. All those emotions came through me, because I just felt that it was just so biased against the industry. It didn't say anything good about the industry. It only said the negative things, you know, and I felt really mad by that. And it's lovely talking to you now, because you were, you know, because obviously we heard lots of coming from you, from the Miami Herald in the States, who are experts on it. And it's nice to hear your point of view, so you're able to put the other side to the positive things that hopefully you've seen the cruise industry doing.
One of the things that bothered me the most about the whole situation was that, yeah, there were some 200 cruise ships out there that had no problems. Now, it was a small amount of ships overall, and yeah, they had problems. There's no doubt about that.
We found that one fourth of ocean-going cruise ships have had COVID-19, have been affected by COVID-19. So while that still is a small number in the 70s, you know, it is a problem for ships. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you see it on military ships, any kind of marine environment. It's a big challenge. And so I think, you know, the MSC restart is certainly a really promising sign that there's technology out there that can help with this. You know, we need quicker testing. We need a lot of stuff that was not available in February. So it'll be interesting to see. I have to sign off, guys, but I really appreciate you inviting me.
Okay, Taylor, thank you so much for being with us. Yeah. And you can down at the bottom, it says leave studio. Okay, great. You can just X off. Taylor, thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you
guys. I'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, guys, that's
what do you think?
Well,
I mean, was I fair?
Yeah, you were fair. You know, it's a difficult situation. I mean, I've been critical about the industry as well. Not, I think, fairly, because I look at the good side of things too. So it depends on how.
Are we're still recording, aren't we?
So
we're live, yeah. We're on here.
We're still live.
Emily says, very good show.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to be fair. I mean, we're still recording live, so I can talk live. You know. Yeah. I wanted to be really, really fair to Taylor, because Taylor is a journalist from the Miami Herald, fantastic. You know, and she was interviewed several times on the show. And Shelby, hi Shelby, lovely to see you. Yes, totally fair. Thank you, Shelby, because I didn't want to not talk about this. I generally didn't know that we were talking to the lovely young lady. She seems like a lovely lady, you know, Taylor, who was on the show. I didn't know that we were talking to her. And when I realized it was her, I felt that we had to ask her that question, because I was generally upset. It didn't portray Taylor in the best way, because it only showed all the negative things, in my opinion, that she had to say. And she may well have said lots of positive things, and we don't know how the show was edited. But I just felt that, you know, as a cruiser who loves cruising, I like to have heard both sides, because I agree there are so many things the cruise industry should have done. And
I think the problem now is that because there's so much technology and so many shows and 700, 800 cable channels, that you've got people that are producing stuff now and they don't even know what's fair or what the other side is. I find that in even local news presentations around here, now that we've got second and third generation people on the television, they don't even know how to pronounce the local towns that are around us. We've got Oslo, Minnesota. It's a little town up here. The other night, the guy called it Osolo.
John, I wanted to be fair to Taylor because I wanted to give her the chance to put
but it's funny that
her side and a positive side of the industry to it as well. I really did.
What this ITV channel might have, the producers of that, we don't know what they were going for.
Yeah.
No,
or maybe we do know what they were going for. I mean,
we didn't hear a lot of positive stuff, to be honest with you.
Well,
to be fair, I did ask the question several times.
They probably didn't even send a person out and say, give me the statistics. How many people cruised last year? How many people didn't get sick? Norovirus, I bet you norovirus didn't come up once. And, to be fair, cruise ships are fighting health conditions. I mean, that's a thing that they're working on all the time. This COVID wasn't a surprise to them because they're working on contagious diseases all the time.
There's a few messages there, Chillie. I wanted to put, for me, when I watched the documentary, the gutting thing about it for me, my own personal opinion, that's all it is, I was excited to watch the show because I wanted to know where it was going to go. And I was just hoping for a balanced program talking about the things they did wrong, which we fronted. Yeah, they should have stopped cruising beforehand, absolutely. And some people, in my opinion, felt they were trapped to go on a cruise because they paid their money and they couldn't get a refund. All those things I felt were wrong, but no one knew what was going on. But I just was expecting a program to give a balanced view on both sides of what the cruise industry were trying to do to correct what was wrong. And I think the cruise industry has really gone over the top now to try to correct everything. The fact that we're not cruising most places shows the fact that they'd rather put everybody first rather than the money now. They've learned their lesson. And so when I watched the program, I'm like, this is not balanced, in my opinion. This is just so wrong, and please get both sides of the argument. That's all I wanted to hear. And they obviously interviewed Taylor, who an expert on that side of things from the Miami Herald in America. And it was great to hear. And a lot of the things she said, I absolutely agreed with. I totally agreed with a lot of things that she said, but I just felt that it was not balanced, and I felt that it should have been someone. I would like to hear some positive stuff that the cruise lines are doing, which they are doing. So that's where I was coming from. So I do apologise, but I felt I had to ask Taylor the hard question.
All right, well, that's going to wrap us up for today, guys. Don't forget, Sunday we'll be live from London, our normal time, just like normal. The fella over there with the lack of hair on top, he'll be running the show from London, just like always. I don't have anything booked yet for next week on
well, can I tell you about
Cruise
the show
Amigos
on
live from Virginia. We'll see what happens next.
I'll tell you about the show on Sunday. Yeah, we're speaking to Ernest Marchain. Yeah, Ernest is cruise director for Azamara Line. Of course, he's not cruising at the moment, and he was also the lead star in Starlight Express. And so I'm really, really looking forward. He sent me loads of photographs. It looks like a fun cruise. I've got loads of photographs of him. If you haven't seen Starlight Express, then it's about trains. That's all I can say. Yeah. So he was the lead. He played two different roles in that, and so he played Rusty and he played Greaseball, to my knowledge. Yeah. It's a show I've seen lots of times in the UK. I've seen it in the London Apollo. It was also at the Hilton in Las Vegas where he performed, and I think he performed in Bochum as well. Yeah, so
and he lives in Vegas.
He lives in Vegas.
Oh well, then.
So he's our guest. He's our guest on this Sunday show. And it's going to be a fun show. I'm not going to go into one. I'm just going to have fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to hearing all about Azamara Line because it looks incredible. I've got to say that the line looks great. I don't know a huge amount about them, but they look fantastic.
All right, guys. So thanks a bunch for being with us, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Cruise Amigos live from Virginia.
Cheers.